the teenagers, and then you have the shark finners. This one, you get the cool shark gang and the ominous music, but then you immediately get into Emma leading us through the area. So this movie like immediately started building character dynamics just right off the bat in the first chapter. And I like that. Again, I like that they went different. And so you spend a lot more time with these characters, I think, than the other ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely. And like we have tension in these scenes because they actually make use of real sharks in this movie. And, you know, you can see a CG bull shark and you go, okay, well, that's clearly the threat in this movie. They're not going to have this like random bluefin eat the actor, but clearly the CG shark's the actual threat. But seeing a real shark, it's almost like Roar, where you're like, I'm on edge because that's a wild animal. And it's really interesting to see these characters interacting with like, you know, actual real life sharks. And I think a lot of the best shark movies have that, whether it be The Reef or Open Water 1, where it's like, oh no, there's actual tension here, because even if you know in your brain nothing's going to go wrong, something could still go wrong. And that lends to the tension of the movie, especially for characters that you like. Because I love Emma Collins. I think she is fantastic. I love her as a main character.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife, that's why this is her favorite of all of them, because of Emma. It's just a different take. It's cool. I dig it. Yeah, I think Deep Blue Sea is still I don't want to say it. I like them all. I actually love Deep Blue Sea too now. When I first watched it, it hurt my soul. But after we spent 10 weeks with it, I think Jay, we kind of love it now, right, Jay?
Yeah, but I'm happily going to say that Deep Blue Sea 1 is still my favorite of the franchise. It's going to take a lot for anything to topple that. I'm not saying it's never going to happen. Fingers crossed for any future installments, but it hasn't happened yet.
Did y'all like that scene with Spin going undercover and figuring out about Mozambique and where the sharks were coming from?
Yeah, I really liked the fence panel walls he was going past, the kind of the really rustic looking branch paneling. That's what I just like that aesthetic, because it's you know, this feels like a very man-made island. They've just kind of used the materials they can get to hand, and it's a very natural looking thing. And you know, they had to make this set to film on it, so I just really liked the look of it. But yeah, I like Spin.
Honestly, I love the set in this movie because I mean this in a loving way. It reminds me a lot of like Waterworld sets.
Oh yeah.
And I really love Waterworld a lot.
As you should.
Even though I've almost exclusively seen a Waterworld on TV, which means with commercials, it's like 4 hours long.
Great jet ski work in that movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Phenomenal jet ski bungee combo work.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, her name is Vanessa Guerrero. She hosts a podcast called Kicking and Screaming. She has like spiritual experiences with the Universal Waterworld like live show, where it is one of her favorite things in the entire, like, in existence. And she is so excited for the pandemic to end because she's like, I need to re-experience the Waterworld sort of like live show because I love it so much.
I don't think I've ever watched it. What is it? What is it? Like just jet skis and people flying around and stuntmen doing
basically,
stuff?
And lots of explosions, and it's fantastic. I've seen little clips of it, but I've never seen it live, and it looks so much fun, and I cannot wait to watch it and then watch her watch it.
It's the one where I think they have, sorry to spoil this, a guy from the audience who's really a stuntman, and they like kill him. But then it turns out he was a stuntman all along.
They like crash a plane and stuff like that. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's a bottled version of Waterworld. But I do really love this man-made island, especially compared to the almost covertly simple above ground version of Deep Blue Sea 2, where again, like they didn't have the design to make a good the set design. They only had so much to work with, so the actual CG parts looks fine, but these platforms are really basic and it doesn't feel quite as fleshed out. This feels like a little community, and I like that.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. And we were talking to Pogue, and we just gave him big props on that because, like, it I don't know. I love the production design. It feels like a real spot, and I love how they introduced it in the beginning, so you know where it is. Like without saying a word, you know it's in the middle of nowhere. So then that cuts down on extras. That cuts down on, it was 800, now it's 2, so you don't need all those people. And I just thought, I think they took a lot of care. I think they learned a lot from the second one where they spent a lot of money building these waterproof sets. They actually had to recycle the water in in Deep Blue Sea 2, and I think that just ate up a lot of the budget, just getting in it, because it takes a lot longer to get people in water and get shooting. I dig how they ditched all that, and then they just were able to get more, because they only shot this movie in, 21 days? That's a pretty quick shoot right there, and they packed in a lot. So I think that set was really just allowed them to kind of, no, it's just smart, and they were able to move a lot quicker, and I dug that about it. It's nice getting out of the claustrophobia of the prior two and then jumping into the sun-drenched exteriors of this. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Especially because maybe it's because like Tremors is my favorite series, so I have a lot of bias for that, as well as stuff like Jaws. But I really love it when a movie is shot in daylight, where you can see all of the scares, because there's a difference between spooky and scary, and nighttime is usually spooky, but it's like, oh no, you can see almost everything. Like the only thing you're not going to see is obscured by like the fogginess of water, like out in the distance. So you're maybe like scanning the background for stuff, but like you can see everything in like this beautiful vista. And it's so, I don't know if it hits the same for other people as it does for me, but I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, it looks beautiful, and it's on a budget. This movie, what did they? We didn't get an exact total, but it can't be more than probably $4 million, and that's not a lot for the amount of resources they had. So, I want to give props to Darren Hoffmeyer, my namesake, the VFX specialist on the supervisor on this. I think he nailed it too. I love the sharks in this movie. I think they look great. But yeah, the Hoffmeyers, they're crushing it around the world. Got to give them props. Darren Hoffmeyer.
Oh, definitely.
That's I just always got to give a Hoffmeyer props in this movie on this. But one of my goals in life is actually to go over to there and just kind of hang out at the wineries that surround the studio. I was looking it up one day. It looks like a pretty cool area to visit. Like, and I want to go try out the diner on set. It's 3.5 stars out of 5 on Yelp. So I want to try out the studio in South Africa's diner. See what they got. Check it out.
It's getting a glowing B- grade on Yelp, apparently.
Yeah.
That'll do.
I've never heard of a studio diner getting rated on Yelp. It's like a very interesting thing right there. But what else we got, Jay? Do we have any other?
Well, we see, just talking about Spin going on his little covert mission. We get a little glimpse of his desktop wallpaper with him and Mia. I like just that kind of detail where we just get a little glimpse of their relationship. They're just putting funny faces, and that's his background wallpaper. So I just appreciate that detail in there. So good for them. And Emma and Shaw, when they head out to go and shoot the shark, they have a great tooling up montage. I love gearing up montages. They like grab the walkie-talkies, grab the guns. It's very Edgar Wright quick cuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I have to give
And he
props
does the
to that.
point, right? They go on different sides like raptors.
Yeah.
Like they're on the same wavelength and they split up.
Yeah, and the attack on the shark does not come from the front; it comes from the side. So perfect.
Oh, clever.
Oh, you clever girl someone?
Indeed.
This was the year of like the clever girl kill, because this also came out the same time as Tremors 7 did. And that movie is such a love letter to like Predator and Jurassic Park. And first of all, I put both this movie and Tremors 7, Shrieker Island, in my top 10 movies of 2020. I love them both so much. But that movie, I think it's like the second or third kill in that movie, they clever girl someone, and I was screaming. It was amazing.
I like John Heder in these films. I think he does a good job in the later Tremor films.
Oh, definitely, especially because Jamie Kennedy is not a great fit for that franchise, but John Heder definitely does a really, really good job.
He gets the humor, I would say, in that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like the
Jamie
Antarctica
Kennedy's
movie?
A Cold Day in Hell?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. 5 and 6 are like the black sheep of that series for me, where I saw Bloodlines twice, and I saw Cold Day in Hell once, and I remember thinking that one was the absolute worst of the series. And don't get me wrong, I still like it because I think Michael Gross as Burt Gummer is one of the most fun characters in any horror franchise. But I think that they overexerted what they were doing with their writing and what they could afford in a budget. For example, like most of that movie is filmed with barely any snow. A lot of these tundra scenes are desert scenes that they just like color corrected. So like they're trying on a budget, but they were writing set pieces that were just too big for them to pull off on whatever budget they had for that movie. And so that made Shrieker Island kind of like how Deep Blue Sea 3 exceeds 2 in every measure. Shrieker Island is so much better than 6 when the bar was so low, and I love that even more about it.
How would Burt Gummer do in the Deep Blue Sea world?
Oh, Bert would be fine. I have no worries about him. Bert can kill anything on the planet. If he can handle space, if he can handle like these giant worms, he can 100% take care of sharks, because if nothing else, he can go on land and avoid the sharks and then come back and regroup. He'll be fine.
I like it. Yeah, no, it makes sense. And he's used to dealing with, like, you know, sharks come from below. Like, what? Graboids come from below. He's an old pro.
Oh, yeah.
Unless he's in a lake and a bull shark gets him. That's the only way I see him getting got, is a lake bull shark.
I almost feel like Bert would be like, yeah, I'm not going to go on the lake on the off chance that there is a bull shark in here because I'm prepared.
I guess he is a survival preparedness person. He's like, I've seen piranha. I know what happens. Oh, got it.
Nice.
All right.
And in that scene between Richard and Emma, when Richard thanks Emma for saving his life, she says, "You'd have done the same." And Richard gives a look that tells me that he would not. He would have let her die. Just reading it.
He might have tried. It just might not have gone well.
Yeah, yes. Maybe, yes.
He would have shot the dart and tagged Shaw with it by accident.
Yep. Fall into the water. Another shark gets him.
The thing is, I'm not convinced it would take Shaw down. He is a tough guy. I think that he would have got through the tranquilizer.
Yeah. You SOB, you know, he would just be mad about it, I think.
Richie.
Yeah. Dr. Richie.
And we technically lose Bahari in this chapter. We don't see him die, but he is no longer in the film after this point, shall we say. So he is played by Sia Mayola. Apologies if that's not the pronunciation. He's not been in anything else that I've seen, but he is in Fried Barry, the film from last year, which also features Tamer Berjak, one of the shark finners from the start of Deep Blue Sea 2. So good for them. And he's also in an episode of Wallander with Kenneth Branagh, a show I've never seen, but it's something I recognised on his CV. So he's a South African actor from Port Elizabeth, and he has a website and Instagram, and we'll link to all of it. And he's great. I think he does a great job in this scene, particularly the underwater acting of being of seeing a shark, realising it, and getting his knife out to attack it. I can't imagine it's easy to act underwater. I can't even open my eyes underwater. And he's here like doing that and acting with a knife in his mouth and being believably angry and attacking it. So well done to him. Good job.
Yeah, limited screen time, but you like the character a lot. When he gets killed and you see the aftermath, you definitely feel for the guy. He's not just straight up fodder that you forget about. So
I don't know. Yeah. He seems to have a pretty enjoyable life. He's just out playing his guitar on his boat in the sunshine. Got
great straw hat.
Yeah, great straw hat.
Unfortunately for him, he just didn't know what he was in for when he went down there, because he's used to dealing with sharks. He's just not used to dealing with these sharks. So he was definitely not prepared for like what was coming for him. And so like he's a tragedy of just, collateral damage on these sharks striking out against everybody. But I do really like him for his screen time, though. Like, a lot of the joy you get out of these characters is how they relate to other characters in the movie. And I think he's in a very happy, adorable relationship.
I mean, it is his sister, is the other character in this.
Whoops, I didn't remember that.
It's never actually said, but it's a brother and sister relationship.
Well, he's in a very nice relationship with his sister.
Yes,
in
I assume that's what you meant.
Sense.
Yeah.
But you can understand why he doesn't want to leave this life, because he's happy here. This is, if you can keep this up with, just going out on the boat, going fishing, handling giant fish heads with his bare hands. That's the main theme I pick up on in this film. Everyone just touching dead aquatic products with their bare hands. It's disgusting. Then, he's happy. So good for him. And I'm sad that he's passed.
I mean, that did look pretty relaxing.
Life and he loves it.
Yeah.
Just playing guitar on a boat, chilling, fishing.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Okay, so Harmony, any final thoughts on this chapter, or the film overall, or the franchise overall, even?
Ah, geez. So I don't know how I would rank the Deep Blue Sea films. Well, I mean, I know how 2 would be the one I like the least, but I don't know how I would rank 1 versus 3. And I think, like, if I had to just make a split decision about what I love about this movie, how much it achieves with its low budget, because I always really appreciate that, especially for any kind of creature movie. What kind of creature can you make? What kind of world can you make for this creature to live in? What are they going to look like? What kind of threat do they pose? Because there's plenty of bad examples of all of these. And I think I might like